rest my feelings, start my mind.
Thank you very much for being here. This is the squad announcement press conference for the World Cup qualifiers coming up June 7 and June 10 against the British Virgin Islands and Guatemala. We're joined with the head coach of the Reggae Boys, Coach Steve McLaren. We'll be putting the squad on the screen momentarily, and then Coach McLaren will also be giving his remarks, a recap of London recently, and also a look ahead to the summer that we have on the horizon as well. So, Coach McLaren, good morning to you, sir. Hope you're doing well. And let me just put the squad on the screen so that all can see.
Okay, good morning, ladies, gentlemen. As we enter a new camp, a new phase, World Cup qualifiers, the squad is, as you see it, the additions from the Unity Cup are obviously Andre Blake, Jamali Waits, Latiba Dier, Damien Lowe, Mari Gray, Leon Bailey, Romario Williams, and Tyrese Campbell, who we've just taken from Charlton, done all the paperwork, and he's received his passport this week, so he joins us as well. We want to build on the Unity Cup. It was a great experience. The players did very, very well. And I think we made, in the way we want to play, big strides forward. I think scoring 5 goals in 2 games was a big plus, using the speed we have in the team. But the team was very well organised. Disappointing was obviously 4 goals in 2 games. But I got to say, from the beginning of the week to the end, the players were exemplary in their work. We started with 17, ended with 23, and they came in, created a great spirit, and I think you saw that in the games. And we want to carry that on to the World Cup qualifiers, and the obvious goals for this are to continue our way of playing and to get better at that. The key is to win the 2 games without a doubt, and then gain momentum going towards the Gold Cup later on in the month. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Coach. Much appreciated there. So, folks, what we're going to do now is open the floor for questions from members of media. Please raise your hand, and once you're indicated, then you will be able to have your question posed to Coach McLaren. Okay, great to see the hands raised. Give us a moment, please. All right, let's start with Mark. Good morning, Mark. Go ahead.
Good morning. Thank you, Simon. Thank you, Coach, for all that you have done and are doing for Jamaica's national team. We really appreciate it. Coach, from my perspective, it appears as if you are building a very competitive Jamaica's national team. Now, with the recent form of, John Russell, Isaac Aiden, with the other complement of midfielders that we have at our disposal, Coach, can you definitively say that with the perennial issues that we do have in our midfield, can you definitively say, Coach, that you are satisfied with what you have, or better yet, can you definitively say that our midfield problems are now fixed?
I wish I could say that. They're never fixed, always looking to improve. And but I got to say, Isaac Hayden has settled in very well, shows his experience, maturity within the squad. I think, the big plus from the Unity Cup, or one of the big pluses, was the form of John Russell. coming into that midfield. I think he came in our first camp and then had troubles with his club, sorted them out, changed a little position, went from a 6 to an 8, bit more freedom to get in the box. And that's what you saw last week. And it's made John Russell a different player, more effective. And that's a massive plus for us in terms of that. We missed Bobby Reid because I thought against St. Vincent, Bobby Reid provided great energy and tactical awareness and technique in that midfield. But I thought Casey did a great job. And, we've got other players coming into that midfield. Am I satisfied with that? No, I think, if we get injuries in that area, then we need greater depth. We've got that depth in majority of areas, but in terms of the names and the depth, then no, we haven't. So we're still searching and trying to get better in that area.
Thanks very much, Mark. Let's hear from Bryce. Good morning, Bryce. Go ahead.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. So coach, one of the things I noticed after the Unity Cup, you had spoken about the work ethic and that momentum that you had seen from the players. With you now bringing in a lot of the key names into the squad for the World Cup qualifiers, how do you build on that momentum to ensure that not only are the players from the Unity Cup bringing over that performance, but also the incoming players can gel well with those players as well in the squad?
Bryce, that's a great question. And that's what we'll be working on this week, especially because I think we found a few little gems last week, a different kind of way of playing. They're still creating our build-up, still wanting to do that. But in terms of maybe pressing higher and dropping to a mid-block, I think we worked on that a lot. And we want to use the speed and make sure players are hungry to basically run behind defenders and also to run into the box, where if we do deliver crosses, we've got bodies in there. That's what I liked about last week in the two games, was the wide players, the front players, the energy that they provided, the work rate, the ethic, the teamwork, but also great ability in terms of being able to beat players, run behind players, use the speed, a defender's nightmare, and caused a lot of problems. So yes, you're absolutely right that the ones coming into the squad will endeavour to show them how we've progressed our game, how we've gone on a little bit. We talked about that in St. Vincent, the second game. I think they did it well. And we've got to build on that this week and going into these two games and momentum for the Gold Cup.
Thanks very much, Bryce. Mr. Taylor, good morning. Go ahead.
All right. All right. Can you hear me, Simon?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Good afternoon, Simon. Good afternoon, Coach. I want to
Afternoon.
say, Coach, congratulations. And from a fan perspective, I think the Unity Cup has really rallied the fans in the diaspora, and everybody was proud of the team, and we were proud of the performance from the first game. I don't think the finals really mattered to us. We saw what you were trying to do, and we think some great things happened there. Now to the football, Coach. We get down to the business end of stuff. World Cup qualification. We saw the positives in the Unity Cup, but we saw the same thing popping up again. That right back position. Some would say that Dexter Lambekisa had his last best game against Panama, has been going on loan at his club, hasn't been really playing that very competitive football, and we see him a bit off the pace sometimes. We have a player in Joel Latibeaudiere who played the right back position at Swansea, played a little bit at Coventry, Mason Holgate as well at Everton. Have you ever considered, Coach, maybe freeing up one of those center back spots to maybe give one of those experienced guys a run to basically make that position more competitive, coach?
You're absolutely right. We always need strength and depth. Dexter has been there. I like Dexter. I like his energy, and within our teamwork and our team frame, it's important that we have one fullback going forward, and he's been that forward-thinking right back who's got the license to overlap. That's his strength, and I think you saw that especially in the Trinidad game. I thought he was excellent in that game. We did struggle a little bit on that right-hand side against Nigeria, where they outnumbered us a lot, and it took us a while to work that out. But we did. I think Kyle Ming has come in and been very solid when he's had to play. That's an option, but you're absolutely right. We've got Latti, who has played there occasionally, and Mason Holgate for Everton, which was many years ago. It's a specialist position. So we're searching for depth within that right back area. But I do like Dexter, and I think, okay, you can't be good at all aspects. And in our system and the way we play, he has to be good going forward, which generally he has been. And we continue with that. And we continue also to look at recruitments on the island and in Europe to give us that competition for that place.
Thanks, JT. Let's go to Manchester now. Jordan. Afternoon, Jordan. How are you?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Coach. Good afternoon, Simon. Jordan James from Backpage Football. In the Unity Cup, Jamaica were very clinical and we took our chances very well. Has this specifically been a focus, and how can we maintain this moving forward?
You're absolutely right. It was a focus. We got speed in the wide areas, and we've created that speed down the middle with a 9. I think, Warner Brown coming into the team against St. Vincent showed us what we needed in that position. Burrell came in and had great energy and did the job what we wanted. Within the squad, we also have Mario Williams coming in, who is a little different than Warner and Rahman in the terms that he's more of a target. We might need his aerial height as well, the danger on crosses against the BVI. So I like the balance of the front players, but you're absolutely right. We worked a lot on using the speed of the front three, transitioning very quick. But the key is how many bodies you get into the box. And I think that's why we scored 5 goals. We were constantly, when we broke and put balls into the box, we constantly had a minimum of 3 players within there. And that's what we said. To score goals, you need bodies in the box. And we certainly got a lot more. So we need to build on that and make sure we never lose that and get better.
Cheers, Jordan. Mr. Blake, good morning to you, sir. Go ahead.
Good morning, Simon. Good morning, Coach. Good morning to the panel. It's expected to some leverage, some leeway, Coach, privately, but I want to do this publicly. I want to congratulate you, your technical staff, the support staff, the fans in England, everyone associated with the team and the performance at the Unity Cup. It was certainly one of the proudest moments as a Jamaican fan. From a result basis, from a performance basis, from the love that we saw on the field and the unity amongst the players that you seem to have garnered, and the team spirit that you seem to have worked on bringing. Congratulations to you and everyone involved. Congratulations to Simon. Excellent press conferences at the Unity Cup. So I have a question, Coach, for the AB, but I just Simon puts up the fan picture. Gave us goosebumps. I think that's what I told you, coach, privately, but certainly gave us goosebumps here in Jamaica. But the question, coach, I don't know if you provided explanation before, but I certainly like to ask about part A. Malik Madison came on in the second game. I noticed that he didn't make this World Cup squad. What it is that you saw from his cameo performance that was missing, that didn't make him make this cut? And if you can speak to omission of Shamar Nicholson, who has been a regular in the team over a long time. And C would be the missing of Bobby Reed and Ethan Pinnock. Can you shed any light on that? And are you concerned about those senior players missing? Thank you, coach. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the introduction, and thank you very much for the, was that 10 questions within there?
Just 3. I'll do to you what you did to Nigeria.
Listen, yeah, it was Pinnock is not in this squad for personal reasons. Bobby Reed is injured at the present moment, having a scan in a couple of days, hopefully ups his training, wants to be involved in the Gold Cup. So we're leaving a space there for him for that. In terms of Mothersill, we've been watching him quite a while at Peterborough. We like him. He's very talented, very direct, which is what we're looking for. And he can play left side, 9, 10. So we like what in fact, he was going on holiday on the Thursday, and really he got all his papers through and his passport, and he wasn't available when I named the squad, but all of a sudden was available. So we just invited him in to train. And then we could put him on the bench because we had room. So really we just put him on the bench just for experience to train with us, be around us, sit on the bench. So it was a big plus that he actually got minutes and came on, and we trusted him to do that. So he was a big plus. Hasn't made this squad, but for the Gold Cup, I think we can name 26 players. So he's one of them on the list of standbys. We'd have no hesitation in bringing him back in. Tyrese Campbell we followed, and we've wanted him in this squad. So he more or less can take his place. So we've got competition in them areas, and good competition. In terms of Shamar, when I got this job, I thought Shamar, I love Shamar. We had Antonio and Shamar, and we had 2 good number 9s. We lost Antonio, and Shamar had an opportunity to play. And we've been following Shamar when he was in Russia. And what we see is, one of the things from the very beginning was the first 3 camps, we noticed how many players were actually not playing in their club teams. We're not playing club football. We're not playing week in, week out. And when we did come together, we could see a fall and a drop off in performances from players who weren't playing regular. So, we analysed that in the Christmas period after the 3 camps. And we said that and to the players that you've got to be playing in your club, you've got to be playing week in, week out, and you've got to improve in your fitness. So when you come, that you're not behind in any of that. And unfortunately, Shamar, he didn't play in Russia. He moved to Mexico. I think he played 2 games, and then was on the bench after that against St. Vincent. He played the first game, and I was, and he was, and I think the majority of people watching were disappointed with the performance. and we spoke with Shamar and said that he has to play for his club. So since going back to Mexico, he didn't play. He was on the bench, and his season finished on the 20th of April. I think it's maybe starting again in pre-season now, but not starting. So that's quite a break, 20th of April until now. And it's a long break. And we felt the condition of Shamar at this present time wasn't up. And we can't bring him in camp to get him fit. You have to be fit when you come in camp. And I think that was the main principle of our ruling, of our decisions. And that's what we felt with Shamar, that we didn't feel that coming he would be 100% fit. So it's up to Shamar. As I said from the beginning, I like Shamar. He's my kind of 9. He's big, strong, and can run in behind, can hold the ball up, and can score goals. And that's what he's got to start doing for his club. And without doubt, this is a big year. There's a big few months coming up. I know he's now working very hard and going back to Mexico and getting some form where he may be able to come back into the squad. But I think what we saw from Warner Brown and what we saw from Burrell at the weekend was that energy that 9s must now produce. And it showed the difference in terms of our intensity with and without the ball.
Thank you, Mr. Blake. Jason, please unmute. Go ahead.
Thank you, Simon. Afternoon, coach. Afternoon, Simon. Just a question on the midfield. I saw in the Unity Cup, Isaac Hayden, I would say probably our only recognized 6 in the squad, played 180 minutes. I tracked him in his season at Portsmouth, and typically in the games, he would, start the games and come off in the 75th minute. I'm just asking, how confident are you in his durability over this summer? It's going to be a lot of games in his legs based on how I see you have picked the squad. And also, what is the contingency plan if we do have to, spell some minutes for Isaac?
That's what we're working on, a contingency plan. You're absolutely right. It was important to get a recognised 6. Talking to Hayden, he's a 6 and an 8 and a 10, so he can play all positions, but he's mature. So he plays 6 very disciplined and simply. And you're absolutely right. We need more depth there. So, we have to keep him fit. But the games were that close and tight that we couldn't afford to lose him in the 2 games in the Unity Cup. So yes, we have to make sure that we, 1, keep him fit, and 2, we're looking recruitment wise and looking at others who can maybe play a 6 when he's not available.
Thanks, Jason. Mr. Spence, go ahead. Good morning.
Thanks, Simon. Good morning, Coach. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Good morning.
Coach, this squad is missing a few senior players in Antonio, Reed, and Pinnock. And there are more players expect to come in with very good championship and/or Premier League pedigree. You've spoken highly periodically of the potential in the squad. And this is a more macro question, but when you have your full complement of players, what, in your honest opinion, is the gap between where we are and where we need to be consistently compete what I consider the big 5, US, Mexico, Canada, Costa Rica, and Panama?
It's a very, very good question, and something which is a little unknown, especially for myself, because I can't say. We've talked about the amount of players we've used, the different squads that have come in each camp, and we've not had a settled team. We've looked at a lot of players, and we're looking for youth, exuberance, energy, attitude, and we're trying to build on that, what we saw in the Unity Cup. So yes, we have Premier League players missing. And we bring them in for the World Cup qualifiers. And, hopefully we can continue our progress in terms of how we want to play and use our energy and our speed to do that, and find ways to win. I think you saw that against Nigeria, against Trinidad, and especially we had to cope and adapt with a very good Nigerian team. And yeah, it's the way forward. And everybody with 8 players who are joining us must, take the lessons from last week and take the team forward and improve it in what it can do.
Thanks very much, Cronky. Cece, go ahead. Good morning.
Good morning, Coach. Good morning, Simon. Good morning, everyone. Love the vibes at the Unity Cup. You see the mixture of players, Burrell coming in and doing well. But in terms of some clarity, Coach, with the likes of Mali Mothersill and his non-selection, if it is documentary, and was the squad selected prior to the Unity Cup?
Yeah, more or less. More or less, there was always opportunity. But as I said, with the Unity Cup, it was very difficult to pick a squad, people falling out. We had 17 at the beginning. And as I said, we just, I think the week before, acquired Mothersill's passport. So all of a sudden he became available. He was going on holiday. And we just asked him, look, before you go, do you want to come in for a couple of days? He did. And all of a sudden we didn't fill the spots, and there were spots to fill. We asked him just to stay along and gain experience and come on the bench, which he did. And in the end, we needed him on the field. So we need to look at Malik a lot more closely. And we may have the opportunity to do that in the Gold Cup over hopefully a longer period. So yeah, that's, I think we gave people opportunity, and I think the people who came in have taken that.
Thank you, CC. Just 2 more. Mr. Legister, good morning.
Yes, good morning, Simon, and good morning, Coach. Coach, you touched on something about players not being on form, right? Now, after the Unity Cup, how are you going to balance the inclusion of standout fringe players from the Unity Cup with returning overseas professionals who are not on form for the World Cup qualifiers, such as Leon Bailey and Demarai Gray?
Yeah, that's the job we have to do this week. It's the job we had to do last week because we had many 6 or 7 players who hadn't played for 3 weeks in the championship. We had JPL players who had played in a playoff final, 120 minutes and a penalty shootout, and jet lag coming over. And so the squad wasn't in very good condition when it came and when we all got together on the Sunday, Monday. So they did remarkable to do what they did, and we have to integrate these other players coming in whose seasons finished over a week ago, though that will be easier to do that. But let's not forget at the beginning of that week when we had all the problems with integrating players coming in, new players given an opportunity. We didn't have the likes of Warner Brown, which we wanted in the squad. We didn't have the likes of Dwayne Atkinson, who we wanted in the squad, until the very last day when they were brought in on the Thursday and the Friday. So last week was, if you'd have seen it off the field, it was a little bit of mayhem. But credit to the players who came together, joined in and created a great spirit. And that's what we expect this week when the likes of, Leon, Dimmy, Romario, Latti and Blakey and Jamali and Tyrese come into the squad. We want them to raise the bar. That's what we said last week. And this is what we'll say this week. We have to raise the bar from a question earlier to get close to the US, Mexico and Canada. We definitely have to raise the bar a lot.
Thank you. Lastly, Daniel Blake, you have the last question this morning. Go ahead.
Hi, good morning, Coach and Simon. Coach, you spoke about Shamar not necessarily being in form and being in a competitive position, but just recently you spoke about the difficulty of not including Ravel because of the league that he plays in and so forth. He obviously then went into the Unity Cup team. Not saying that you can guarantee any player a spot in the squad, but because of his unique abilities and maybe a lack of that type of player in the pool, is he more important to the squad than probably expected?
Who, Shamar or Ravel?
Ravel, knowing that, he just a few weeks ago, it was, you saying that he was not playing in a very competitive league and that you weren't seeing a lot of him. So now that he has been included again, is his value to the squad more important than probably even you expected?
Look, I know Ravel really well. Worked with him at Derby, so I know him really well, and I've always think he's been top person, and that's why we brought him in for the US. Unfortunately, it was only 2 or 3 days, but you could see his integration within the squad, and he was well liked. We did the same again with the Unity when really we did with Thursday, Friday coming up. We had 14, 15 players. And we reached out to Ravel and asked him if he wanted to come and help us. And of course, he was on the next flight over. I liked his attitude in training. He was good around the young players. He was good around the squad. He brought something different to us. And I've got no hesitation including him for the World Cup qualifiers because he came in and he improved the atmosphere, improved the quality of training, and improved the team. And against the BVI, who we may need a little bit more creativity, and that's something a little bit different and special, Ravel certainly got that. So, we're delighted with that. And I've told him in the future, and he's trying, he's got to get playing in closer to home, in a better quality league. And there's still an opportunity and can still be a future for Ravel. He knows now what he must do, which is ideal. And what was impressed me was he was on the next flight, came over, and he was a real positive around the squad, the young players who were coming in, and that's why we've kept him in the squad.
Daniel, thank you very much. Coach, thank you very much. Members of the media, thank you very much for your time. This press conference will be shared shortly. Have a pleasant rest of the day. And remember, the Reggae Girls play this evening at 7 o'clock against the United States. So stay tuned to JFF Live. Thank you very much, everybody.
Express my feelings, start my mind.